Hello, today we are going to be doing some TDD. Recently I have done the Bowling Kata a couple of times, once with an ex-colleague, a group of ex-colleagues. We have a RAS study group, another time I did it in closure. So I thought, well, we don't record a video about doing TDD, about how the process work, how the flows work. So here we are. The main thing that I want to achieve with this is the thinking, yeah? How you look at the code or at your requirements, modify the code as needed to get the system working and do refactoring where needed and such. That's the main idea. For this specific example, we'll be using C#. Maybe I will redo it again in a different language, or maybe I will do a different kata. I do not know yet. Couple of things to mention. The ID that I'm using is Emacs, but that is not important in terms of who cares about the ID. I will be using Pomodoros. On one side, having a kind of a fixed time. It will be nice for YouTube to make sure that I don't create my videos that are way too long. On the other hand, as well, gives me some time to just relax for a few minutes, which is the idea of the Pomodoro. Yeah. You will see over here that there is not too much editing. I don't like to do editing myself personally. But apart from that, on this specific case, it's about the thinking process, and I don't want to stop that or to remove parts of the whole scenario that we are going to be doing, because I want you to follow what I'm doing. I will try to describe all the thinking that is going on as I do this kata. The kata, again, is the Bowling Kata, or just because. The game. So the rules of bowling are very simple. You have a game with 10 frames. In each, there are 10 pins that you have to knock down each frame. You have up to 2 rolls to knock them down. The number of pins that you take down become the score for the frame. You put everything together, you get the final score after you have finished the 10 frames. You have a special calculation when you have a spare. A spare is when in a frame you knock out all 10 balls between both rolls. And it gives you bonus points. The bonus points for the frame is the number of pins that you knock down in the next roll. You have a strike. A strike is when on the first roll you knock out all 10 pins. And then you have the bonus points for that frame, which are the next 2 rolls added into that frame. You can reach the 10th frame, and if you do a spare or a strike, you get the additional rolls. You only count once because they are just additional rolls. So you have a maximum of 3 balls that you can roll on the 10th frame. And we have some requirements over here set up for us, which clearly they get done for oriented programming, because a class. So it's telling us that there is going to be some class called game, which has 2 methods, roll and score. There are different versions of the kata with some different setup. That is fine. That maybe at some point we'll look at one of them. Right now, we are dealing with what we have in front of us. There is this bowling calculator. Again, first one that I found looking on internet. There are multiple of them, and we can just see how it works, the scoring. I knocked down 4 pins and knocked down 2 pins. The score for the frame is 6. If I do a spare, which that's the symbol for a spare, it hasn't filled yet the scoring for the scoring, because it needs to know what is the bonus roll, which is part of the next roll that you do. It's gonna roll a 7 again. So 23 minus 6, that's 17. That's 10 from this roll, from this spare over here, plus 7 of the bonus roll goes over here. This frame hasn't been calculated yet, so 7 will be calculated again. So let's not gonna do a spare now. 31. So 23 plus 8, 31. What happens if I have 0 and then all 10 of them on the second roll? Well, that's a spare, so still considered a spare. Strike was only for the first roll. 10 plus 6 is 16, which is the difference over here. Added, just gonna do now strike. And strike, we have mentioned that is the next 2 rolls, yeah? So let's gonna have a 2 and a 6, for example. That gives you 18. 10 plus 2 plus 6, 18, 2 rolls, bonus rolls, which is the difference between 72 and 54, and then the 8 points from this one over here. Let's gonna kind of keep completing the game, and finally on the last frame, let's gonna roll a strike, another strike, and a 6, for example, and that gives you 26 points over here. The original 10 plus the 2 bonus rolls. 94 plus 26, 120. Easy. We will be back.